Okay, really quick, we're going to go over fraudulent orders. With fraudulent orders, it's going to happen on your store when we're targeting countries that are outside the US, UK, Canada, or Australia. Usually, there are some people in the world that like to commit fraud. So it's people with credit card information or payment information that doesn't belong to them, and they're buying things, and they're using their money. So that's going to happen on your store. We're going to advertise to a lot of different countries, so you're going to get a lot of different eyeballs on your products, on your stores, on your videos. So this is how I deal with the fraudulent orders. You'll see it in your Shopify dashboard. Once you receive an order, it'll populate to just show that it has a risk of fraud or a certain risk of fraud. This is included in Shopify. They automatically scan every order, basically where the order was placed IP wise, where the order is going to address wise, and it kind of takes a few other things like the other habits of this user, and it tells you where they placed the order, how high of the level of risk that we're dealing with of fraud, and how you should deal with it. So I think some fraud orders are not fraud orders. Some orders are just from genuine people from other sides of the world that don't have access to your website from a basic internet service provider. So they have to use like a random proxy or a different, DNS server to access your website and be on it, or browse Facebook, or do whatever it is that you need to do. So some orders could be not fraud. So you just kind of have to learn which orders are fraud and which orders are not. So my best belief is that most high risk orders on Shopify are fraud, but we created a system where it's on the issue sheet. You should have this in your issue sheet. If you haven't, get the download below for your issue sheet. And this will basically have the same layout as a lot of the other stuff on the issue sheet. I'll have your order number here, the email address of the person, the date entered, the level of risk the order is, and what was the what did we do? Did we cancel the order? Did we confirm that the order wasn't fraudulent? And then the supplier side of things, we make sure to confirm that it was the order was canceled with the supplier as well, so we're not charged for it and the supplier isn't sending it out. So I have my team working, and they're very organized in doing all this and communicating with the supplier through either WeChat or Skype, and we have narrowed it down to this similar or simple process. So where we go ahead, we see the order is fraud, right? Then we go ahead and email the customer, because we require every order to have an email. So we go ahead, email the customer, say, hey, we had a small hiccup in our system where your order was flagged for a risk of fraud. Can we please gather your a picture of your ID, as well as the picture of the last four of the card that you used to purchase whatever it is that you purchased. And then honestly, 80% of the time they will not respond. So the people who don't respond, we consider it as fraud. So we mark it as a medium to high risk in our system, and we cancel the order, and we tell them that they would need to place the order through PayPal or another avenue that doesn't flag our fraud system. So we let them know that. But for the people that do respond back with their IDs and stuff like that, these people are usually legitimate 95% of the time. They're not like faking an ID, and they're not faking the card number that they're using on file. So we just confirm those two things, that they're real people and that the address on their ID is also the same as the address they use for their billing address and the address on file for the actual order. If neither of those matches, then it's most likely fraud. I would recommend canceling the order. Do not ship the order out. Make sure you have a system in place where you're communicating with the supplier to not send these orders out, so that you're not being charged for them and then getting a chargeback later on. And now this comes into dealing with chargebacks, or how to deal with chargebacks. I simply use this process to make sure that we don't have high risk of fraud going around a lot. But if you do end up getting some chargebacks on your side of things through Shopify, I recommend going through Shopify's easy system, where you can submit the proof that you've shipped out the item, or as much information as you can in their system. You'll see this on your dashboard, where you can go ahead and go run through it, fill out the data they're requesting, and submit it to them as a chargeback request, or fighting the chargeback essentially, and they will let you know within 30 days from you submitting that whether or not the chargeback has been successful, or has it been like charged like out of your account and it was taken and it was negative. So these are just some little things I put in place to try our hardest to not deal with chargebacks as much as possible. It seems to be working really, really well. It's just something you got to keep an eye out on. There are services out there that do this for you at a cost. I believe Shopify actually offers one where you could pay more money and you can actually get Shopify to filter out your orders based on their higher like their better fraudulent protection system that they have. So that cost, I believe, like they charge you per order on that, like a couple cents or maybe an extra $1 per order to double check that it's not fraudulent or anything like that. So if that's for you, that's an automated solution to do that. If not, then this is another way how you could build an automated system to do that with your team. So if you haven't hired a team or got your team together working on the issue sheet and customer service and all that, you can also have them figure out how to, create a process that works best for you to filter out these fraudulent orders using this sheet, using this tool that I've given you, and making sure you don't have fraudulent orders and chargebacks and stuff like that. So just minimizing all that stuff is also a large part of scaling or building your brand in the long run. So this is one of those tips where you just want to reduce the amount of high risk fraud orders on your site so you can reduce the amount of chargebacks that you're going to get on your site. So I hope this helps and it simplifies it in some sort of way and clears it up further for you. If you have any questions on fraudulent orders or anything else, revert back to the Facebook group and ask in the Facebook group. That way everyone can learn from it and take in what you're asking. That way someone might have a different experience than I do with fraudulent orders. This is the best way I feel like dealing with fraudulent orders is. But yeah, just keep an eye out on the fraudulent orders. Just look at the orders that are coming in on a daily basis and see which one Shopify is flagging as high risk, low risk, or medium risk. Just keep an eye on the fraudulent orders, because it could affect you negatively in the long run, in the sense where your payment provider will no longer trust you because of how many fraudulent orders you're producing, and then they'll no longer accept you. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen. So this is a process to make sure that all doesn't happen. Fraud orders are bad. Pretty much sums up this video. That's it.